Hello, hello! Welcome to Draw Tip Tuesday. My name is Koosje Koene and I'm really happy that you're here. Let's draw together. Last week, if you did the assignment, you have been drawing your living room or any kind of interior. And now we're doing the same, only we're going out and we go to a cafe. I'm currently traveling and teaching workshops, so I have curated some archive material for you, and today's video is a little bit longer because it's a free class on drawing an interior, drawing a scene. So your assignment this week is to take some time to watch the video, but also schedule some time for yourself to go out and draw and have fun doing so. And if you did that, then you can check that off on your drawing bingo card. Yay! And if you don't have the bingo card yet, where have you been? No, don't worry about it. There's a link in the description below this video and you can download it. And then you can start checking off your prompts. And of course, if you have bingo, don't forget to put that in the comments. Just post bingo! I love it. Let's celebrate doing daily drawings. Have fun with today's video and with your assignment. I'm taking you to a cafe today where I sat down for a cup of coffee and a drawing, and I often get questions about how to draw people in a cafe because they will move and they might actually leave, how to draw a place, how to capture the vibe. So I'm not saying I am going to make the perfect drawing because that is something that doesn't even exist. But I am going to take you through my process because I think that when you see someone draw, that's a really good way to learn. But then you have to do it yourself as well. So I really encourage you to go outside, find a cafe where you can sit, buy a drink for yourself, treat yourself to a drink and a sketch. Hey, just a quick note from the editing room. As I am editing this video, I realized that it's an extra long one. It's basically a full class video. And any other content maker might just ask money for this, but I'm not going to. Look at it as a gift from me to you because I appreciate you being here on YouTube. And thank you, subscribers. If you're not subscribed yet, please do. Usually, I aim to publish videos here that are 8 to 10 minutes maximum because I want that there's time left for you to draw. But today I want to show you the full process of drawing in a cafe because I think it can be really helpful to see it. No time lapse, no skipping parts, you will see everything. Which means that the video is extra long. I could have chosen to cut the whole thing in 2 parts and then publish part 1 today. But I personally just really hate that when a process is cut into 2 parts and then you have to wait for a week for the second part. So I'm not doing that. I just want you to see the full process and then go and draw yourself. And hopefully you will feel inspired by this video. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, let me narrate this while I watch the video myself. We are at 30 ml coffee in Amersfoort, which is a nice cafe with good coffee. I am using my Hanemühle Nostalgie sketchbook. It is an A6 format, not too big. I'm using a Unipin fine line brush pen. The color sepia, and it is waterproof, so I can use my watercolors with it. And I have a water brush here. Also, I have some paper napkin to clean my brush between dipping into different colors of my watercolor box, but you will see that later on. I'm not thinking too much about where to start. I'm just looking at what my eyes are gravitating towards, and it's the 2 girls sitting there chatting. They have drinks, so I know that at least they will stay here for another 10-15 minutes, probably longer. So that feels safe to draw. They're sitting still enough. Of course they are moving, but remember that when you draw people, they make repetitive movements. So if someone moves their arm, then you can wait for it until they move their arm back in a certain position. So it's also a little bit about studying people to understand what kind of movements they make and what kind of postures they have. And you will see that someone prefers leaning their chin on their hand or sitting with their arms crossed. And while I think about that, I am drawing the purse that is on the table. And I see a chair and it's totally wonky and out of proportion, but I'm just going to move on. And behind that chair, I can see that there is a woman sitting. She's sitting there with her husband. And I feel like they might not stay that long. I don't know if that's true, but I feel like I need to draw them right now because I think they are a nice couple and they are eating cake and just really enjoying their coffee. And so I love including them in my drawing. Before I move on to drawing the other girl that is sort of in that wide gap on the left right now. First I want to draw that guy and I'm trying to find his features. Look at him, he has a bald head with some hair on the sides, which is characteristic. And I'm not looking for a real likeness here. I'm really looking at the vibe that I see around someone and small things like the color of a checkered shirt. I think it may be characteristic for this type of man of this age. I don't know. I just find those small details interesting, even though I don't go into real detail. And I am using a brush pen so that I have a thick line with a little bit of variety in the line, thick and thin. And also this pen allows me to move quickly on the page because I can't really get into detail. And of course, when you draw at a cafe, people may notice, especially when you draw in a cafe and you have your phone that is filming the process. People will notice this, and at this point in the drawing, someone's actually standing behind me and talking to me about it because he's interested what I'm doing and he finds it fascinating that I am drawing and filming it. So we have like a really small, quick conversation. I excuse myself because I am drawing and filming it, so I don't want to stop. But it is a nice conversation. Don't be afraid for people coming up to you because usually they will be positive about it. Nobody will come up to you to tell you that your drawing sucks or that they are annoyed about you drawing there. No, people like this. They love seeing an artist in the wild at work. Even if your drawing is scratchy, they aren't drawing. They're fascinated that you are actually doing this. So don't worry about that. You got this. Thank people for the attention they give you. Have a sip of your coffee and keep going. I draw the plant that I see peeping through in the background next to that elderly lady. But now I run into trouble because I also want to draw that other girl that is sitting there facing me, and I totally have to just draw on top of the plant I just added. These are the things that happen when you draw. Often people think that accomplished artists know exactly what they're doing and that a drawing is all planned out. Nothing is farther from the truth, at least for me. I have no idea where this drawing will go. When I started with that first lady on the left, I had no idea what I would include and how many people would be included. And at this point, I still have no idea how much of the interior will be included. And if I will be adding more people, there might be more people coming in. And I'm just going with the flow. I'm taking it bit by bit. And I'm also drawing in a way, filling gaps and staying close to one thing and then drawing a thing next to it so that if I would have to leave right now, I have kind of a finished drawing, instead of all kinds of small bits and pieces that are scattered around the page and that don't really make sense just yet. There's a girl sitting in the back with a laptop, and I think that would be a really nice addition to this drawing. It gives more perspective to the drawing. I can also see that the elderly lady sort of in the middle of the page, I drew her a little bit too large in proportion to the two girls that are more to the front, closer to me, and that I would actually see larger. But I still think that I'm telling the story of this scene, and it's all fine that it's kind of out of proportion. And because I want a little bit more of that perspective feeling of people closer to me and people further away, I am going to squeeze in one other person who is sitting on a bench. I'm really trying to squeeze her in. And she's actually more to the left in reality, but this is a drawing, so I can move her wherever I want in my drawing. And as you can see, it's overlapping that part where I drew that first figure. And that may be a little bit confusing because the lines are just crossing each other. But I think I can fix it once I add color. And now that I have drawn her, I feel like I should draw a little bit more of the interior for more context. And otherwise there's so much white space, and that's because I didn't plan the composition. Otherwise, maybe I would have started my drawing of that first figure higher on the page. But I love just going with my first gut feeling and just starting without thinking. Because then also, my inner critic doesn't even stand a chance, you know? I'm already drawing before my inner critic can start whining about what are you even doing and why are you making these choices. I'm already drawing, and yeah, the inner critic has to keep up or just stay behind, and I choose to leave it behind for sure. Now there's a little bit of a gap there, some white space. I'm filling that in. It is a little bit awkward. I drew two legs and 2 feet that seem a little bit strange. But again, I can get away with this. It's fine. It's a drawing. Let's take a sip of coffee, and I want to start painting now. I will start painting that girl in the foreground because it feels a little bit confusing with all the lines that are crossing each other and overlap. And I think if I add color, that will definitely change things up. And I'm adding some skin color on all those faces and hands. So I'm really looking for faces and hands. And I am varying the color, of course, because everybody's skin color is different. But I often do this when I draw people. I look for the skin and the hair color and then go around my drawing, because often the colors are close to each other. I can use the first color that I mixed and then add a little bit of brown or a little bit of red. And that way I fill all those faces. It will be like the first layer, and then I can add pink cheeks, stuff like that. Every time you see my hand out of the frame, I'm actually cleaning my brush on a little cloth. I'm taking it in view now, so you can see that process too. When you are painting with a water brush like this, you need to clean it a lot. So you keep your colors clean, but you also keep your palette clean. And if you are picking a blue and then another darker blue after that, it's fine not to clean your brush between those two dipping points into your palette, but make sure to go in the yellow well or another well with a clean brush so that your colors stay fresh. I have a mix of blue and brown, which becomes a nice gray, and I can mix that with more brown for a warmer gray and with some more blue for a cooler gray. So I alternate a little bit. And I can use that gray for shadows, for filling in two bright white areas, and also shadows in the faces. And I noticed that I forgot a pair of legs there, so I add that with my brush pen again. I am using quite a light wash, and that is because my brush pen is brown. Usually when I use a black pen, the line is so bold that I can also go really bold with my colors. But I have learned through experience and through practicing and through mistakes that when you have a little bit of a lighter ink like gray or brown, you need to be a little bit more delicate with your colors, especially dark colors, because then they might overrule your line. And I think with a drawing like this, the line is still leading and the color is complementing it, and it fixes mistakes because you make some things clear by coloring them. But yes, I am using quite light washes. I usually pick a little bit brighter colors when I use a black pen, and I do that by just mixing less water and using more pigment from my watercolor box. And I'm not staying true to all the colors that are there in reality. If I feel like someone should be wearing a red sweater for the sake of my drawing, then I will definitely add a red sweater instead of a gray one or blue or whatever. That's your artistic freedom to do so and to decide so. I'm adding more gray to indicate some more shadow and to show the difference between what we see outside, very bright, through the windows, and what is inside. And actually, I think I'm almost done. Just a few more shaded bits. I don't even know if it makes a lot of difference, but I'm just enjoying this. So I keep going while I have those colors all mixed in my watercolor box. Pink cheeks, why not? Fiddling a little bit with that checkered shirt color. Just a little bit more gray. And I find those white tables way too white, so I am making them brownish, yellow brownish, to indicate that they are wood. And it gives a very warm vibe to it. I'm adding just a few more lines because I don't want the color to overrule the line, but I'm not going to add too much because I don't think it will help the drawing immensely. I hope this video was helpful for you. I hope you also noticed that I was stumbling through my drawing at a few points. This is all part of the fun. It's all part of the process. You are just kind of discovering your way through it, right? And you don't have to know what exactly it's going to end up like. It's better that you don't know, and it's even better if you don't even really think about the result that much, but just enjoy the process, because that's really what this is all about. You sit down, you take a moment with your sketchbook, and you take in the view, you take in the vibe, and you are translating it onto your paper, into your sketchbook. Whether it's wonky or strange or out of proportion, you're having fun. That's what it's all about. So I'm giving you the assignment this week to go outside, go to a cafe and draw. If it's too scary, go outside, buy a drink to go and draw. Just go and draw. Go on an art date with yourself. Have fun.